Old South Africa is gone. Now let's try out the new one. We'll be playing as this country, Basutoland. We are situated roughly in modern-day Lesotho, and we are one of the native African countries in this region, together with Zulu and Swaziland. We also have two Boer countries to our north, and in the east we have two Griqua countries, which from my understanding are a mixed race people descended from the Dutch settlers and the African natives. Either way, we don't discriminate, we want to conquer and subjugate absolutely everyone, regardless of race, and hopefully we can survive the British. We have this special entry about the struggle for the Highveld, which could give us claims on all of South Africa, but for that we have to be recognized, independent and have a coastline. And getting recognition will probably be the hardest part. We need to expand and become stronger. So let's first attack those guys. I think we also need to improve with Britain, so they don't try to kill us, you know. As for research, I think we'll have to go for line infantry, since the Boers already have that. We also can't change any laws right now. We won our first war, the British want to protect the Boers, but I don't think they really care about Griqua land. So let's conquer them. There we go. That was very easy. Let's incorporate this. And yeah, the British really don't want me to have the Boer land. Maybe if we build up the army we can attack Zulu. Let's try that. A friendly British lobby. Okay, that's nice. Although Britain is domineering towards me. That's not very nice. Britain expelled our diplomats. Yeah, we might be screwed. Oh, and Transvaal just formed up north. That's a bit scary. Yeah, damage relations as well. Why not? Oh, and by the way, the Carlists won the Spanish Civil War. That's pretty interesting. Maybe now we can attack the Zulu. I think we can mobilize about the same amount of units. So we should be able to at least hold against them. Okay, now we're defending, that's nice. It is close, but we're doing it. What just happened? So we were fighting and having a great time, and then this Natalia Boer Republic spawns out of nowhere. I guess we can also attack them. The British don't seem to care, although they have line infantry. I don't know, I think we can deal with them, and then we can go back to fighting Zulu. There we go, Natalia is ours, and so is Zulu. Yeah, things eventually worked out. Now Britain doesn't seem too interested in protecting Transvaal. I think they're busy in Canada right now. So let's try to conquer Transvaal. Okay, now the British want us to join their power block. Damn, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. You know, I think I'll say no. They already hate me anyway. Okay, now we can finally get the economy going and build some tooling workshops and textile mills and whatever. The war against Transvaal started, and they don't really have any units. Even with our irregulars, we can still beat them. There we go. Now we surround Winburg, but could we attack them? I don't think so. But we could go for Swaziland if we expel their diplomats. The British definitely don't care about those guys. Now let's switch to a professional army and also get the support of the church. Wait a second, the British don't care about those guys anymore. We need to go for it. This is our one chance. Completed our commitment as well, and we started the war. There we go. After only about 6-7 years, we control all of South Africa except for the Cape Colony. I think that's pretty good. Now we need to focus on the military. We need line infantry, we need guns and ships, and only after that we can think about attacking the British. For now, let's get a port and a shipyard. And the law fails, unfortunately. The British are embargoing us. Okay, that's very nice of them. Yeah, we might want to improve with them actually. Also, Mexico is French, by the way. And Alaska is part of the Ottoman Empire. The AI is actually doing some pretty interesting stuff. We could get this government in charge, and then we might be able to get rid of serfdom. Let's try that. I guess we'll have to pay for the freedom of the peasants. Okay, we passed the law. Now we'll have to go for private schools. That's what I promised the intelligentsia. As for research, I'll try to go for colonization. We have a lot of Soto homelands we can colonize pretty quick. Britain is damaging relations. Okay, so we won't be able to get more than -17 relations. Pretty unfortunate. We became an unrecognized regional power, so that means we can get another interest over in Sanj. Now we might be able to attack and conquer all of Gaza, hopefully without the Merina Kingdom joining. Oh, of course they do, but still I think we're fine with our line infantry. Yeah, the irregulars don't stand a chance. There we go. Now I'll get a royal folking government, and I'll try to get agrarism, although I'm not sure it will succeed. Maybe if we give out some bribes and some fake promises, sure. Yeah, now we have a better chance. Okay, now France is belligerent as well. Why does everyone hate me? Oh yeah, we managed to switch to agrarism. That's amazing. Okay, now what about professional army? Maybe now we can do it. Yes, we got it. Let's get the intelligentsia back. And what about some appointed bureaucrats? We got colonization, so I know which law I'll go for after this. Okay, this law is failing. Let's just get some colonies. Okay, we got a new prince. And he's okay, I guess. I don't think we'll be able to get this commitment. Let's delay it for another 3 years. And then we'll see. Gold rush, okay. We can be a very rich country. And we got colonial resettlement. I think I'll get a colony started in this province, because it might also have some gold fields. Okay, more gold in Transvaal as well. Yeah, the commitment failed. It's unfortunate. But no one will care about it in 5 years. Incredibly realistic. Let's get a bit more money with per capita taxation. Okay, per capita is here. Now I guess we could try public schools. And yeah, we're also trying to get skirmish infantry. Okay, this is a very cool amendment actually. Prussian education, which will give more strength to the armed forces, more assimilation, and more conscriptable battalions. You know what, shit, I'm gonna add it. The British want to protect the Congo, which I'm not a big fan of. But at least we got skirmish infantry. So let's switch absolutely everyone. That's probably gonna cost a lot of money. But now we'll actually have a functioning army. Okay, we got the public schools. With those two amendments. Okay, now the Cape Colony has actually started colonizing. That's a pretty big deal. Gold fields depleted. Well, it's time for you to work in the mines. We finished the colonization of Northern Cape. Now let's go for Transvaal. And I think that's all we can do without the malaria penalties. Okay, now we have an abolitionist movement, which is huge. I did not expect that. That's pretty crazy. I mean, yeah, I guess we have a couple slaves, like 850,000. But still, should I do this? The landowners will not like that. Okay, fine, I guess we can try this. However, we'll probably still get a civil war. It's just how it is. Yeah, the civil war started. Thankfully, those guys are very weak. There we go, we won. Hopefully, we can quickly recover. And slavery was banned. Great for the slaves, not so great for the economy. Okay, now we're also getting a bit more rubber. Now let's try to get appointed bureaucrats, why not? Colonization of Transvaal was also completed. Now there are no other states you can colonize without the malaria penalties. So I guess we'll go to Zambezia. And we're gonna stay there, we're not gonna be making any progress. At least appointed bureaucrats passed. How about we get a dedicated police force? Okay, we actually became a major power. So we can start earning recognition. And oh boy, do I have a plan to get recognized. We'll be attacking Russia. And we'll liberate Kamchatka, sure. Also this other state up north. And we'll be humiliating them. And I think that's probably enough to get recognition. We also got railways unlocked. However, we have bigger things to worry about right now. Such as invading the far east of Russia. Okay, actually fine, we can start building some railways. We kinda need them. And we landed in Kamchatka. We took over this state as well. And now we'll be defending. And the Russians just don't care. We'll be able to enforce them without any issues. However, it will take a while. Okay, the Russians just put their entire army on 37 ships. And they're wondering why they're losing. And another law passes. Now the war against Russia is done. We won. And we got our recognition. We are a minor power. Now we should complete the struggle for the High Veld. There we go, highest on the High Veld, or however you say that. So we gain a bunch of claims. Now we can also start colonizing this state. We couldn't previously because only the Cape Colony had a claim on it. The Invisible Man. Okay, someone is trying to kill our ruler. I guess we'll see what happens. Oh damn it, he got new clothes I guess. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a very nice touch. Japan of all people wants to get a defensive pact with us. You know what, sure, why not? I guess we can be friends. Oh, so that's why you wanted me as an ally. To help you in your civil war? Okay, fine, I guess I can do that. Oh, and Russia is also helping. So I think we can be friends once again. Assassination, really? Our ruler will die. Now this guy is in charge. And he's an enlightened royalist. So that's cool, I guess, but we don't really have the technology to take advantage of that. But I guess we could get a voting system, right? Let's try world voting. Japanese civil war is over, and so is the colonization in the south over here. The British are a bit busy fighting Siam, so maybe now we can do what we always wanted, which is taking over the Cape Colony and unite South Africa. The British aren't sending any troops over here, I don't know what they're doing, so I think we can beat up the colonial troops, and we can also do a couple sneaky naval invasions, since their navy is not here. Okay, we managed to occupy everything, thank god, but now their navy is here, so I'm expecting a lot of naval invasions. We'll also have to increase taxes, cause the budget is not looking pretty well. Okay, now we'll just have to wait, and we'll have to wait for a pretty long time. The British will not give up that easily. And well, voting failed on the last phase. I hate when that happens. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. The socialists are rising up in this part of the Cape. And yeah, I lost my war goal. This is very infuriating. Okay, we can finally end the war against Britain. They almost landed in the capital. They got pretty close. I had to mobilize way more people than I wanted. But now it's all over. We won. And now it's time to finish off the job and get rid of those damn communists. However, we don't really have a front line. I have no idea why that is. This is incredibly weird. How am I supposed to attack them? Can I do an invasion maybe? Oh yeah, I can. This doesn't make any sense. And there we go. We finally own all of South Africa. Now I would really like to attack Portugal and take over their colonies as well. However, they have allies. They'll be supported by Dutch East Indies and Austria. But are they really gonna send troops in South Africa? I don't think so. Okay, and people really want democracy. I guess we can go for some world voting. Okay, the Dutch might actually be sending troops here. But I still think we can do some naval invasions and just not worry about all of that. There we go. We occupied everything. Now again, we just have to wait. Or even better, we can go conquer those little guys in Mozambique. Yeah, I think it might also be time to establish a company. And I'll go for the gold one. I know for a fact this will be profitable. And maybe it's time to also invest a bit more into research and build up a bunch of universities. Now Britain is starting to colonize Namibia. But yeah, there is no way for us to compete over there. That place has severe malaria. So we'll just have to let them have it. Now we can finally end the war against Portugal. And we got all of Mozambique. And the landowners start trying to coup us. Yeah, that's unfortunate. We could retire this general. So you know what, sure, let's do that. Okay, and the coup failed. That was pretty easy. And we are now a democracy, finally. And the liberal liberals are on track to win this election. Yeah, let's get those guys in charge. Now we can do the anti-strike laws, I think that's fair. Oh god, now a lot of people want to rise up. Maybe we should bring the taxes down a bit. That might calm down people. Let's get another company. Plantations are okay, I guess. We also found the source of the Nile. The law passed. I think we can go for laissez-faire actually. Now question is, should we rig the election or not? I don't think I will, because that will actually diminish the influence of the industrialists. And now we got laissez-faire, amazing. I think free trade is the next step. Free trade, there we have it. Now I think I'll go for cultural exclusion. Oh, and Britain is also conquering the Merina Kingdom. That's a pretty big deal. We got cultural exclusion. Now we'll have to go for poor laws, because I promised that to the industrialists. There we go, poor laws. I guess now we can go for total separation of church and state. I think we might actually have a chance to annex Namibia, since Britain is a bit busy in Canada. We actually managed to occupy all this land. Now we just need to wait for a pretty long time. I think I'll also take over the Portuguese colonies right now, just to get it done quick. Also total separation failed, and we got steel frame buildings finally in 1908. I guess we'll switch to it. You know, I really hate how the British keep establishing those little colonies over here that I don't have a war goal on. They really shouldn't be allowed to colonize from occupied land. And of course, just like in the Cape Colony, Namibia also must have a civil war while I'm invading them. Well, we can end the war against Portugal. That's something. However, the war against Britain is not even halfway done. They are losing war support so incredibly slow. I might actually go insane. Britain is finally in the negatives, but I'll keep waiting. I want to enforce all the war goals. I had to wait until they actually capitulated. It's 1912 for God's sake. Now we'll also have to deal with those guys that broke away, you know, for nice borders. They just backed down actually. Now I guess we can open up the borders. It's not like we don't have enough peasants, but yeah, they're mostly in the newly conquered regions. And building over there is pretty bad right now. And Madagascar is free once again, because the British didn't manage to handle that revolt. That's very cool. Now let's try proportional taxation. There we go, better taxation. Okay, now let's try total separation once again. Hopefully this time it works. We got total separation. Now let's commercialize agriculture. We got malaria prevention. Finally we can properly colonize this land. Joining the scramble for Africa, yes we are. Vertically integrated agriculture. That's a pretty nice amendment we got to an event. And I guess we can get some health insurance. Let's try a private one this time. There we go. Let's get guaranteed liberties. That was very fast. Another company? You know what? Sure. I'll go for the steel one. Now guess what? It's time for us to build a skyscraper. That's how far we've come. And you know what? We'll actually be getting the tradition of free elections for that extra legitimacy. A war to win. Yeah, that event fired. I guess we get regulatory bodies. I guess we'll give the trade unions the right to associate, just so the socialist movement will shut up. Now the US actually has an interest over in South Africa, and I would like to join their power bloc. Seems pretty cool, so let's try giving them a bunch of stuff. We also got a new prince, this guy, the liberal industrialist, and he will bring us into the Columbian Pact. And we are in a power struggle against the US? Really? So we might be able to steal the American power bloc. That would be pretty crazy. But we are not getting the right to associate. No idea how the American prestige got so low. Oh, they declared bankruptcy. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, what happened? So I took over the Columbian Pact, and now New Granada is in charge for some reason? I really don't know what's going on right now. This might be a bit broken, but it's already 33. So let's take a look at the rest of the world. Canada and Mexico did pretty well. The US now owns Alaska, which is Turkish and atheist, but it's led by an Orthodox. I really don't know what's going on over there. Santo Domingo took over Haiti. Brazil took over Peru, Bolivia. Ecuador went communist. Argentina annexed all of Chile. Over in Europe, this is how things are looking like. The communists in Portugal set up a republic in the south. This part of Spain is owned by the Philippines for some reason. I think the British gave them that land because they're Spanish culture. Anyway, it's very weird. Oh yeah, in the Benelux we have a big communist Luxembourg, an incredibly big Belgium, and a very small and weak Netherlands. Germany and Italy didn't form, however they both got pretty close. Scandinavia formed, however. I don't know why Denmark owns this part of Finland though, or how they are still alive. Anyway, this is the Austrian Empire. Slovakia is independent and anarchist. Also Vojvodina is anarchist, and Banat exists for some reason. The Ottoman Empire is gone, now it's just Turkey. Over in Asia, India is independent, and also pretty united. Not the same can be said about Indonesia. Meanwhile, China has its own problems, but the Heavenly Kingdom control most of it, and they actually managed to mostly convert China to Protestantism. I have no idea why there are so many Sunnis over here though. Ethiopia is also Protestant, by the way, because they've been colonized by Britain, just like most of Africa, except for the French colonies and the country of Twat for some reason. And finally we have our little principality in the south of Africa. I think we did pretty well fighting off the British. We are a major power, just below Belgium and the Heavenly Kingdom. We have the 12th largest economy. I know I could have done better. And 26 million people live here. That's the culture map mode, in case you're wondering. We still have a pretty sizable European population, 1 million English and about 500,000 Boers. Together with the other Europeans, I would say they represent about 5% of the total population. Anyway, those are all the laws we managed to pass, all our institutions, our trade. Yes, we are part of the new Grenadine market, and our companies. So that's it, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Victoria 3 A to Z. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.